Welcome, everybody. And I did remember my glasses, so I guess I'm going to have to give a speech. I wrote a speech out, and I've kind of changed it, and I thought, what do we want to talk about today? Do we want to talk about the past? Do we want to talk about future? Do we want to talk about taxes? Do we want to talk about a lot of things? And I thought that rather than bore you, that I try to keep my speech as short as possible. I know there's a hockey game on this afternoon, and I've been warned if I go past the magic time that everybody will be gone, including Councillor Jack Miller. But first I'd like to do some introductions, and I'd like to start off with some important guests and council. So first I'll start off with council, and I'd like to everybody to greet council or meet council. We had a receiving line today, but I'll start out with not in order of importance or height here. We have Councillor Christopher, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Deniers, Councillor Lafferty, Councillor Jenkins, and Councillor Miller. Councillor Culhane and Councillor Boyce are both working today, and they send their regrets. But some of us do have to work. With that, we have a lot of dignitaries from other councils and other communities and our own staff that I'd like to also welcome. Mayor Williams and his wife Heather have gone back to Quinte West. Their levee today, or there's lots of levees in the community, and their levee will be today at 2 o'clock. He was here and left. He has his son Ryan here, so I have to be polite to John because Ryan will report back to Mayor Williams of what I said about him. But no, it's great that John was able to stop in. Just in the nick of time, I'd like to welcome Mayor Mertens from Prince Edward County. I believe he slipped in somewhere. Oh, front row, holy jump, sit in front of me, I'll never see you. Yeah, I'm actually nearsighted, that's why I have all my council sitting close to me today. So with that, also from Prince Edward County, Councillor Diane O'Brien is sitting behind you, Mayor, so she's got your back today. Also, we have some past councillors and politicians here from the city of Belleville. George Beer, or Councillor Beer, I've always said he's a councillor. George, I believe, did about 35 years. I think George was at about 35, 36. And again, helped our community, and it's people like George that shaped this community and enables us to actually participate today. Now, there's one man that I've left to last, and I always call him the most powerful man in the county. Oh, we have Jerry Boyce. Jerry's up here too. So I'll leave my remarks to the most powerful man in the county. Councillor Boyce is up here, and I do have a history question to ask you after. I pulled it out of my speech because I might be inaccurate, and I knew you were going to be here, so it's out. Having said that, back to the most powerful, and I tease him, is Warden Rick Phillips is here, and his wife Cheryl. The county is very important to, not our history, is important to our viability as moving forward. Warden, you're back in the back. Thank you for coming also. I'm trying to read in my hen scratching if there's anybody else that I've forgotten. I will hear about it after. They're pointing here. Pardon me? The base, I'm going here. I'm politicians, yeah. Okay. Veterans, again, in the base, thank you. Last year, if you were here, we honored the veterans with our Veterans Bridge posters, and we had a great day honoring the veterans last year. Veterans, being a son of a World War II veteran and growing up in a neighborhood surrounded by veterans, I can tell you a lot of stories and how important that our veterans are to our city and to Canada. Staff, council without staff would be non-existent. Sometimes I believe that we have to take note that staff do help us. Staff do create, staff, I'll just cut to the chase, staff make council look good. So I don't think anybody in council will deny that. We do have some directors here. CAO Rick Kester, which today we can complain about sidewalks. I'm flipping everybody to the CAO. And we have Director Fleur, I believe, here. Director Fleur is in charge of this facility. The facility that a lot of people said that during actually the 2000 election campaign, this was part of building an aquatic center, and the people that were unsuccessful and ran against me felt that our community didn't need this facility, that we couldn't afford it, that it was something that was beyond our reach. I look at the numbers that are coming out of this facility. It shows if you build it, they will come. 3,000 to 5,000 people swim here a day. You look at our track, you look at the people go through the facility. We have over 17,000 members here now in the facility. Over 30,000 people a week are through the facility. I guess we build it and people are coming and enjoying it. Thank God council lined up and the community are behind the facility. Other things that I'd like to touch about today, actually I forgot other staff that are here. Karen Post, Economic Development. Aaron Bell, our media person that is set up and recording this today and has done some great things for our city to help us communicate to yourselves better. Sarah Tooman, I lost. We've gone through a retirement in City Hall. I think over the last couple of weeks, council, it's safe to say that we've had about 9 to 10 people retire, and it's been an event of retiring, of people leaving and leaving, losing skill sets. And my assistant that has been with me the last 7 years retired officially about a week ago. I have a new assistant, Sarah Tooman. She's here today too. I'd like to thank Sarah for welcome you to the first levee that you're in charge of, and hopefully thank you at the end of the day that everything went well. So with that, other staff that are here, Angela Allen is here to help out. Plus we have all our staff that are assigned today that basically are working to keep the facility open. Hopefully everybody's got their Speedo or swimsuit. We're going swimming in the pool after, or skating. The facility's open all day today. What I'd like to talk about is touch on economic success, and we've had a lot of economic success. Our economic, it's a community. We've basically tried to do our economic packages like our tourism packages, like anything, can promote it as one big, and I hate to use the word region, but one big community, and that includes Prince Edward County, includes ourselves, it includes Quinte West, and that is not only recruiting doctors, it's recruiting industry, and we all know as mayors, if our communities do better, that are shoulder to shoulder, everybody's going to do better. And I think we have to get smarter at the way the things we do, whether it's shared services shoulder to shoulder, whether it's recruitment, whether it's advertising. We have 2 great mayors that shoulder our community, and they're open for conversations, and they have been. So that's one thing as a community. We need to keep doing things together as a region. When I look at economic success, there's been a lot of success, not only with the build out of the air base. When you look at growth that we've had here, we had a great announcement a couple weeks ago that Red Pass Sugar have now bought a plant, Streamline Foods. Streamline was a success story. It started here. They took over basically the old Brook Bond plant 7 years ago. They started with about 12 employees, and they grew their business to about 70. Having Red Path come in, they're at the next stage. So we have major renovations in the industrial park with plants like Procter & Gamble have expanded twice in the last 4 years. We have Black Diamond that is in the major expansion. We have Finnair, one of our newest builds that have just finished their building and hiring. Red Path, as I mentioned, Polycello, Astoria Organic Matters, Matrix that bought the mobile plant. And when you look at, it's never great that you have a plant that closes, but we've been lucky that any plant has closed. It hasn't stayed on the market long. And when you look at Polytwine that closed, or you look at Mobile, these are plants that have been repurposed very quick. We're in the midst of a major expansion that has been on not only our plan, last council's plan, the council before that's plan, and the council before that's plan is no industrial land. And a lot of people will look and say, you know, why aren't we, we've had good scores or good wins on 5-acre, 10-acre pieces. We haven't had any industrial land. Most companies now are looking for 30 or 40-acre pieces of property to buy and set up shop. If I had $1, well, maybe not $1, if I had maybe $10 for every time I stood out in the field with Karen Post. Where are you, Karen? Day like today, I think, was one of the days we stood out. And we stood there and we waited for the Suburbans to pull up. And I believe there was 3 Suburbans that day. It was freezing. I said to Karen, you know, you and I are here. I don't know what's right with this or wrong. we're trying to recruit industries, and they pull up and they want 100 acres of serviced land. We don't have 100 acres of serviced land. The conversation's about 5 minutes, and they're off the road down to Kingston. So finally, we're going to have a product that we'll be able to sell, and there's been some good news. Karen has been able to get an offer on the first 5-acre piece of our new industrial land, and she is very, very aggressive to tell me that hopefully there's another purchase of sale that's coming in the new year for another 5 piece. So the land is almost serviced. Official opening of that will be in the spring, and we have people looking. It goes back to build it and they will come. When I look to other things, we need to communicate as a council probably better to the public, and it's one of those things. We have council meetings. They're on Monday nights. They're on TV. We are actually the best watched show on Cogeco. We're even watched more than the Belleville Bulls, Councillor Miller. So that was told to me. Yes. So Jack's on the top 2. Well, you're on TV, so I can't say Jack was on the top 2 top-rated Cogeco Channel 4 things. I think that might have been Todd Smith that was on the second rating. But having said that, we're trying, and you know, one of the parts is bringing on a communication person to tell what's so good about our community. And we do have a good community, and speaking of that, I got a call on the 23rd of December, and it was a Globe and Mail reporter out of Ottawa, and they called me about the ice storm. And they got a hold of you also, didn't they? So anyways, they went and started talking about how Belleville was, and you know how much electricity were out, and you know all this. And I said, we don't have any outages at all. We had power out for an hour, touch wood, and they had talked to Peter, and the county was out, and we did follow that, and our hearts went out to you. And he said to us, okay, so you guys have no power outages. I go, we're lucky. We've got some frozen sidewalks and things like that, but power has been great. So he says, well, let's talk about the ice storm in, I believe it was 97, 98. I'll get the date right here somewhere, but 98. He said, how, you guys were hit hard then? I go, no, we weren't hit then. And so I Googled the story, and it has it as Belleville is the luckiest town in Ontario. Now, city we are, but I think, yes, we are the luckiest town. We, not only for that, for the staff we have, for the economic, for this building, for the community we live in. And when you look at communicate, I think it's up to us to try to communicate that message. And I think positive, if we all can be positive, it does hopefully rub off on everybody. Hopefully everybody got a magazine that we mailed out. This is the start. This is the first edition that would have been mailed to your house at about 64 cents a copy mailed, I believe. We'll do 4 publications of this, and it's going to have more information. The next issue is going to have the dreaded word tax, and that's not a word that I like to talk about, but we're going to have a breakdown of where the money goes, and whether I want to touch base on this. It'll be something in the edition. But I look at the municipality, we provide 64% of the services, 65% of the services. And I got to watch, no federal or provincial politicians are here. If the province or the feds went on strike, how long would it take for you to notice? Guaranteed, if city workers or if we had a strike, our phones would ring instantly because municipal councils do provide that much of the service. We are fiscally have to be restraintive. We have to watch where every dollar goes, but out of every tax dollar that's collected, approximately 8 cents goes to the municipalities that provide 65% of the services. And I had a talk with my neighbor. I bounced a lot of things off him the other day, and we're walking, and I said, Wayne, I said, the people, again, my taxes, I feel they're too high. Again, we all say that some days, but I said, I pay $300 a month in taxes. I have 5 people living in my house, and that amounts to about $2 a day to walk the streets, to do all that, and do all the things that we have, and to be in this facility today. I said, Wayne, I know what your wife makes, and I know basically what you make. You basically pay about $65,000 to $70,000 in income tax to the other 2 governments, which we don't see a lot of, and we provide the services. So I think as mayors, you don't read about a lot of this. We try to promote it through OSAM, through groups I sit on, but we are short-ended on the funding. And I think for things to change, for us to get caught up in the infrastructure, to get us to provide the services, whether it's social services that are on property taxes, which Mayor Mertens and Mayor Williams have argued or have discussed with ministers, with myself at the table, saying social service costs should not be on property taxes. The only funding we have is property taxes and user fees. So we have to do things better. I think we have to, as a council, as citizens, we have to ask the tough questions to the other level of governments. Where's the money that's coming from our license plates? Where's that all going? We need to get more money in our communities as all mayors. And this is not just a Belleville problem, it's an Ontario problem, or it's a Canada problem. So that's all I'm going to talk about on that word, and I'll try to get more to the positive things. When we look at going forward, council in 2006 was the first council that I led. And thanks to Councillor Lafferty, and thanks to all councillors, and I hate to center them out, we had no green program, we had no green committee, we had no green purchasing policy, and we probably didn't even know how to spell the word green. So having said that, council got together in 2006 on a committee formed, and we thought that we had to be better stewards of our community. We had to be better at keeping our community the way it is and cleaning up some of the nightmares that our ancestors have created, and whether that is the coal tar situation in the wharf, whether that's a dump being built on our water, whether that's sewage untreated being pumped out into our bay. So having said that, I think that our council has had better stewardship, and that's part of what I've been proud of over the last 7 years, and that is some type of green bylaw, purchasing bylaw. We have an organics program that council endorsed this year. What an exciting program. The public sessions we had that on were well intended. And basically the numbers that we're seeing, we had a lot of hassles raising the bag tag price, but I think people are getting that we're trying to not get you to, we don't want waste to go to our garbage site and fill. We want to be down to almost zero waste. And I think with the programs that we have and where we're going with this, we are going to lead a lot of municipalities on that. And to flip into that, the bigger picture items that we've been able to do is on the top of this roof is our solar farm. At the time, it was the largest solar farm municipally owned in Canada when we cut the ribbon. I believe it still is the largest solar farm. It might be the second largest solar farm. Right now, we have approximately 4 to 5 solar farms or solar roofs throughout the community. We raised last year over $600,000, I believe, in solar revenue. Council passed 3 meetings ago our next version of the solar. We are trying, or we have partnered, and we successfully now have the applications in for 3 hydraulic projects on the Moira River. And as I drove by the Holgate Dam today, seeing the water flow flowing over it, hopefully we'll have a contract that will harness that and have a revenue and also lessen our footprint, carbon footprint. And this is a partnership with Quinte Conservation, a partnership with Viridian, which we own 13% of, and a partnership with Peterborough Utilities that have the skill set on hydraulic projects. Council also has agreed to go partnerships with 2 additional rooftop solar projects, or 3 additional rooftop solar projects with Viridian and another partner, and I've also submitted 2 of our own projects. So the hopes of this round, next funding, that we will receive some of these projects and that will eventually be able to produce probably over 1 meg to 2 meg of electricity for the grid, clean energy. Another project, and the third project, is at our wastewater plant, or is affectionately known as the plant. When you flush, everything goes to the plant. There's a flame, it's biogas. We've been burning that off. So Viridian is willing, and right now sitting down with us and are bringing a business case to partner with the City of Belleville and to put a generator, a cogeneration, to burn all our methane and repower the plant. So council has basically engaged. They have taken all these projects and welcomed, and this is stuff that I think down the road, future generations are going to look back and say, we had councils that actually did look to be more self-sustainable, to try to find different revenues. Other milestones that we have is 25th anniversary of City Hall. And we have Aaron Bell has made a video, and we had a launch the other night and had a lot of good reports. That video is on our website. I encourage you to look at our new website. Along with the magazine, we've tried to rebrand the city. Rebranding has been very difficult, but we're almost there. Everything is linked back to our website. And we're doing all in-house video. We're doing all in-house design. And we're trying to get the communication piece and try to do better. We have our strategic plan. This is online too also. It talks about our key core values, about sustainability, about our downtown, and about everything that basically is Council's Bible. I encourage you to look at that. It's online also. Highlights basically we have our biggest thing with Council, I believe, is our 5-year capital plan. And when you look at, and actually the fire chief, or deputy fire chief, I forgot to introduce you, is Ray Ellis, no relation to myself. Former member, his dad was member of Parliament, and Mayor Jack Ellis. Now, if I had $1 for every time I asked if I was Jack's son, I could retire. But Ray was appointed deputy fire chief a month ago. Welcome, Ray. I know this is your first levy as a deputy chief, and the chief sends his regrets. Chief, I talked to the chief a couple nights ago, and he said, you know, Mayor, I was driving to Kingston today, and on the CBC, the mayor of Calgary, and there was another mayor and the CBC, and they were talking about infrastructure and talking about how cities, if they don't get in top of their infrastructure, we're going to be wastelands, whether we're like, and you know, I don't want to put out Canadian cities because this is on the internet and I know a lot of mayors, but we don't want to end up like a lot of U.S. cities that are bankrupt, or we don't want to end up with a lot of U.S. cities that have left their infrastructure so bad that they'll never get to that. And the chief said it was over an hour conversation on the CBC about cities that are starting to look at their infrastructure and are not handing it off to the next councils, that are having a plan. So I think, you know, our most, in 2013 was Build Belleville. Build Belleville is a 5-year capital plan to make sure that we're not pumping I don't say raw sewage because my engineers are here, but untreated sewage or partially treated sewage. What's acceptable to put out in our bay? How many is a year? Is it 3 acceptable, 4 to 5? My thoughts is it's not acceptable to pump untreated wastewater into the bay or partially treated. We're looking at that. Council is going to fix that. We look at other things, water pressure. We look at, that's going to be fixed. There's a lot of people in our northern boundary, in the northern parts of the city. If you have a 2-story house, make sure your shower's on the middle, or on the basement or middle level, because it's not very pressurized on the top of the houses. But these are all issues that didn't come overnight. These are all issues that have been in strategic plans, that have been talked about for the last 30 years. You look at Veterans Bridge. I think Mayor McDougall thought of that 20 to 25 years ago. Mayor Zagoras got in and canceled it. Our council in 2006 decided to go through with those projects. So we've had a council that has, and I believe everybody on council ran on infrastructure, the buzzword, that's the things that make your community better, the things that you use every day, and council has lived up to their words. Sometimes council likes to debate things. I say we better discuss things, and then that way we don't have winners and losers. We come out with good decisions. Heading into construction year next year, we have some exciting things happening. It'll be the start of our revitalization of downtown. I look at what Mayor Williams, and if Ryan's here, he can actually say I said a good thing about his dad. You know, John and I are great friends. Quinte West have done a great job on their downtown. They've taken 7 to 8 years, and I think it's still a work in progress. I was honored to walk in their Santa Claus parade, and I see what they've done, and they've had results. They have businesses coming back into their core, and I think any city, especially in Eastern Ontario, the heart of their historical downtown is the heart of their city, and I see that over and over again, whether it was recruiting doctors or recruiting industries. Most of them like to look throughout the city, and parts like that, we have great bones. We have great ideas of bringing people back to our downtown, and I think we're going to get this done. We have bridges to fix. We have roads to build. Next year in the construction, there's going to be a lot of projects that are in the launch.
There's going to be a lot of complaints, probably about traffic. Councillor Thompson's phone number is listed. He takes all our traffic complaints. But no, the first work of construction besides North Park Street and things like that will be I call it the Switz Island Bridge. If we call it the CP Train Bridge, it's not the big bridge that goes over in the county. But that is our first big main project. They've started drilling. You've seen out if you sit in the Tim Hortons on Dundas Street. About 3 weeks before Christmas, they were doing core samples. We're building a bridge beside the bridge, and then we'll close the one bridge. So lots of road work, lots of water work, lots of industry looking. Hopefully 2014 is going to be just as good as the last 7 years that I've been able to lead council. And I think council have had a great showing for what they've been able, or what we've been able to accomplish over the last 3 years. We have approximately, I think, 10 months, 11 months left in our term. I know some on council are going to be putting their names forward, I hope. I hope most of them or all of them will. I know there's people in the audience here today that have asked me about running. I encourage everyone. It's our fundamental right of freedom, or of what the veterans did for us, our democratic right, is to be able to put our name on a ballot. And I do encourage anybody, if they are thinking, to talk to somebody on council, or talk to myself, or talk to our staff. We need more people to get engaged, whether it's on our committees, whether some people don't want to stand up here and take the beating that we take some days, but overall, it's worth it, and I can tell you that. We have a lot of good volunteers in our community, whether it's on a city committee, whether it's our committees that are our nonprofits. All committee work is very important, so I'd like to take this last minute to thank our volunteers. And there's a tagline that, actually, my wife Sue sends her regrets today. This is her tagline. I'll have to give her credit for it today. Sue delivered the first New Year's baby. She's a maternity nurse on Quinny 7. So we do have more than one New Year's baby. I'm not sure which one they're going to announce. So Sue brought in the New Year's baby. She said, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater in my speech today. So that was her hint. But she sends her regrets. Her third 12-hour midnight shift. It's probably best for her to be having rest today. With that, the volunteers. Volunteers put our unity in our community, and that's one of the taglines that I've used probably too much, and I haven't used it in the last couple of years. It's a tagline that my wife, Sue, came up with. It's a tagline that actually our former MP, Leona Dabrowski, said it was so good, she actually used it in other communities when she knew nobody from Belleville was there. But when you look at it, what would we be without our volunteers? And I think that the amount of hours that volunteers put in, and some of them are here today that I spoke to. Red Nose, for example, last night. 310 volunteers that drove 3,000 kilometers. Gentleman here got home at 4 o'clock this morning, getting our people home safe. Now, what would you ever think that you have 50 to 75 people sitting in an old Cleaners, Lloyd's Cleaners, waiting to take your car home? Just an incredible community we have. Red Nose is not in every community, and I go to other communities, whether it's Durham, and Durham especially, and I tell them what our volunteers do here, and they look and they go, you're kidding me. I think volunteerism in smaller communities is still alive. It's still alive in Belleville, and we lose our identity when you get to a certain size. You have to, I guess, cherish your volunteers. And when you look at bigger centers, a lot of them have lost volunteers or don't have the great volunteers. So in closing, I'd like to thank all our volunteers, all our employees, and council for making this a great past year, and we're going to have a great year moving out in 2014. And I think on the last of my notes here, that should wrap it up, unless I forgot anybody. In closing, I guess back to thanking staff, council, the many volunteers, service clubs also, terrific. I won't name them all. A lot of you guys are members of service clubs, strong, and do a lot of volunteer work for us. And thank the residents of Belleville. Without your constant support and commitment, our city would not be the great place it is. So moving forward, I just have a video that I'm going to try to make you watch, and that's the end. This is Aaron Bell. Aaron Bell, our media person that we brought in. Aaron, his past history was, I believe, with the Bulls, the OHL. So I call him the master of all trades. He presented a 2-minute video that he shot himself. Videos like this, we didn't do a lot of them before, but they were about $1,000 a minute. This here is Aaron's time, which we don't pay you $1,000 a minute yet. But having said that, I'd like to close with that. Thanks for coming out today. Have a great new year. And if any of you are interested in my job or any of council's job, put your name in, encourage you to run, and let's make this the great city that we have. Thank you. Oh, I got my one, and before the video I have to move. My one, I see my press here, and usually I have a couple economic announcements, and coming to planning, and Tom might kill me on this, we have some great news. We have a factory, and I'll give it to now, and whatever, Tom's looking, no, yes, no. Stephen Adamson has been sold. I believe the deal is closed. It's coming through planning. Investors are out of the city. One of the investors is actually from Belleville, has moved away and been very successful, sold his company, and his family's still here. His dream as a kid was having Stephen Adams as a condominium project on our waterfront trail, as housing, as infill. Infill is basically, for the simple terminology, is instead of stretching your infrastructure to push it outside the city, is actually building in the city where the pipes and the sewers are. So he emailed me 2 days ago. They have a planner hired, and I believe it should come to planning, Tom's chair of planning, in the next month. They're moving fast. Their talks are high-rise condos, the first one being about 100 units. And this would be marketed in Toronto to get a lot of the retirees, to get a lot of professionals that are even looking at a place, whether it's a cottage, a weekend place, that are by our trails, are by our marinas, and that they can come down out of Toronto or come from another city and enjoy the lifestyle in Belleville. So exciting news on that front, along with our project at Morches, which has been moving, the project at Bakelite, Williams Hotels also are building a new property. So we do have lots of building going on, but that was one that nobody knows about except Tom and I, or Councillor Lafferty. So I told you I'd give you something today. Now we get a positive editorial. That's the deal. It's all trade-off. Anyways, the video's here. Thank you again.